And maybe you've been involved in church shopping in your life. But what this did was it gave us a lot of opportunity to visit churches we would not normally ever go to. And I remember attending some liturgical churches. I remember going to Episcopal Church and a Lutheran church. Believe me, the Catholic Church was never on my radar. Never. I would never consider going into a Catholic church if I was looking for a church. Not even on my radar. I was shocked when I went to the Episcopalian church because when you're church shopping, you're looking for a lot of different things. And one thing I was looking for was, did anybody bring their Bible to church? And of course, nobody did. So that was one of the yardsticks that I used to determine which church that I would attend. That church, the liturgical services were so different than I had ever experienced. It really left me completely dry. I felt that there was nothing there for me in a liturgical church. We began attending United Evangelical Free Church, which my dad, when he came over for a visit, told us that it was probably the closest to the teachings that I had grown up with. I never became a member of that church. In fact, until I joined the Catholic Church, I had never belonged to any church. I didn't become a member of that church because I wasn't baptized, and that was a requirement for church membership. Unlike a lot of Protestants who change churches often, and there's all kinds of reasons for Protestants to change churches, from what they feel like their family needs at that time, to a pastor that is a good teacher that draws someone. There could be disagreements about doctrine, and you know yourself, there are a lot of churches, just even in Klamath Falls, that you can go to. I never went to a different church. It was always United Evangelical Free Church. I stayed there. So my life continues. My first marriage ended in divorce after 11 years of marriage. And 5 years after that, I met Victor at a square dancing class. We became dance partners. Those of you who have done square dancing, you know about round dancing. We learned how to round dance together. We took a plus class together. That's beside the point. I'm not sure why I'm even telling you that. And I knew Vic was a Catholic, and being a good evangelical, I was convinced that this intelligent man would convert from Catholicism if he were challenged. So, but you didn't know him then. Truly, it's a different man. So I began my assault. I didn't wear camo, but I might as well have. I questioned him constantly about his beliefs. And in reality, unlike the man you know today, he had no answers. I mean, he knew vaguely what the church believed, taught. So I knew it was only a matter of time before he would see the truth. Then he began studying. We were in love. We got married at Sacred Heart, and we continued to attend 2 churches. We went to Mass in the morning, and then we would go to United Evangelical Free Church for their service. So our friends used to kid us that we were the most holy couple in the town, because our days were pretty much spent going to church. Vic, during this time, got stronger and stronger in being able to defend his Catholic faith, and it became impossible to shake him. He had an answer for every single argument I made against Catholicism. And the first years of our marriage were pretty shaky because we argued a lot. And of course, all of those women you know, those arguments end in tears. Why did I ever marry you? You know, all of that kind of stuff. It was rough. It was a rough go. We both loved God deeply. The only difference I really saw between Vic and I was that Vic also loved his church. And it became increasingly more difficult for me to defend Protestantism. To tell you the truth, I was pretty unimpressed with the Catholic Church initially. The parishioners, so this was at Sacred Heart, so I know I have some Sacred Heart, they've congregated here. But the parishioners, in my opinion, were not very friendly. And there seemed to be very little life in their worship. I won't talk about that anymore. I was going to say something, but I better not. The homilies did not spiritually challenge me at all. You have to understand, in my church, we would hear at least 45 minutes of good Bible teaching every single Sunday. How long is a homily? Yeah. And sermons are different than homilies. You know the difference between those. We had our Bibles. We searched the Bible as our preacher was speaking. And, of course, no one in the Catholic Church ever brought their Bible to church. For years, I watched people take the Eucharist and walk back to their seat, at least in my opinion, seemingly unmoved by what they had just done. But there was something that drew me to Catholicism instead of running the other way. And, to tell you the truth, I know couples who totally split their spiritual life. He goes one church, she goes another, and ne'er the twain meets. Right? Okay. Maybe it was that Vic was probably the most Christ-like person I had ever met. That'll draw you. Maybe it was because my dad, my family in heaven were praying for me to see the truth. Maybe it was the friendliness of Amy and Pat Bourget, who we always sat behind in Mass, and they turned around and said hi. Maybe. Maybe it was the encouragement of Father Rogation, who allowed me to use my God-given talents in Mass before I was a Catholic. Maybe it was being welcomed as a member of the Light of the World evangelization team before I was a Catholic. Or maybe it was the love and support I received in the small faith community that started as a result of an evangelization retreat with the Fouches and the Rosses and the Crawfords. Maybe it was that drew me.